Hi, and welcome to the start of a new video, and in this video we are going to enter a game jam. So the game jam we're entering is a 10-day jam. It's been hosted by another YouTuber called Seth Funk, and links obviously to everything in the description. I'm talking quietly right now and I'm very close to my microphone and very close to you because it is currently 10:40 PM my time and I have a child asleep in the next room. So yeah, hush hush at the minute. So I don't know anything about what we're going to make yet because the theme has obviously not been revealed. There is a theme and a restriction, which I will be finding out in about 20 minutes time, my time. But yeah, I just thought I'd film the introduction ahead of time. This is going to be an interesting jam for me because usually when I do jams, they're like a 3-day jam and it's all hands on deck. I purposely chose this one because it's 10 days and I can afford to not put my life on hold to enter the jam. So we've got 10 days. At some point during this jam, in 2 days in fact, I'm supposed to be doing a mountain bike marathon. So I would imagine that's probably going to be me dead for the day. I don't think I'll be doing any game dev after I've just cycled 27 miles up a mountain. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. The next thing you should see is whatever the game jam theme is.
Hello fellow game devs, and welcome to the Frightfully Funky Game Jam 2022. This year's theme is Through the Eye.
So hopefully if I've managed to edit that in properly, you'll have just seen that the theme is, if I try not to knock my camera over, Through the Eye. And it's kind of up to us to interpret that theme as we like. We did have a restriction. The restriction is that it must have gamepad controller support. So yeah, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with that. My next task will be to brainstorm a little bit and think about what I'm going to do. I'm being extra quiet now because in addition to the child being in bed, I now have my partner in bed and her father who is staying with us for a little while. They've both gone to bed, so now the whole house is asleep and I'm just here making silly videos. So yeah, Through the Eye is the theme. And I'm going to try and figure out what I'm going to do with that theme. So yeah, catch you in a bit. And with that, we got straight to it. Later that night, I probably stayed up until about 3 o'clock in the morning against my better adult judgment. I managed to flesh out a premise whereby we're going to control a little ghost, and that ghost has to save his ghosty friends, but the ghost cannot see the living world. The ghosty friend who is trapped by like a ghostbuster kind of thing, and he's trapped by something that's in the living world, like a ghostbuster trap, and our ghost, us, the player, cannot see the trap because the trap's in the living world. The idea being that, we can't see ghosts, so why would they be able to see us? So the idea is that we're going to have to inhabit living things to see the living world, and then it's kind of a memory game. Like, essentially, you have to remember where things are in the real world and navigate the trapped ghost and yourself through the living world without getting caught or getting trapped or getting stuck. Yeah, so I made a go of it that first night and got a very, very basic premise working. So I didn't get a massive amount done on day 2, but I did manage to get some weird little animations put in, change up the art style a bit, make things look a bit more game-like, and also worked on the collision system so that, we had different areas where the ghost could pass through and the trap ghost couldn't, separate the living world and the dead world. Hello! My arm is not long enough for this. So it is Saturday for me. This is day 2 of the jam technically, although for me the jam started with an hour left of Friday, so make it that way you will. And as I mentioned in the intro, I have a bike marathon to do tomorrow. So I've got a bit of game jamming done this morning. Hopefully you just watched that in that part of the video. And now I need to figure out how to spin this camera around so it's looking forwards rather than backwards. And now I need to sort out the brakes on my bike because, let me just step over here. These are some new brakes. As you can see, they are Shimano branded. I know this isn't really what you tune into this channel for, but a little bit of something different. I put some non-Shimano branded brakes on it recently, and I started making a funny noise after maybe, I want to say 30 miles of worth of riding. So if we just come over here, these are what brake pads look like. You can see there's a metal disc and there's the material that the brakes, like that does the braking. It grips onto the metal disc. That metal disc there. These squeeze that disc from either side, and after about 30 miles of riding, this happened. As you can imagine, that's not ideal. And as I'm going to be doing 27 miles worth of riding, which includes 1,200 meters climbing, and as a result, because it's a loop, 1,200 meters descending, I need some functioning brakes. So today's job, this afternoon's job, is to fix my brakes. And then hopefully maybe we'll get a bit more game dev in this evening. So that's the marathon done. I feel like I'm dying all over, and I don't know what my time is yet. I think it's about 4.5 hours for a 27-mile mountain bike marathon, which is not setting any world records, but being a middle-aged fat person who only started cycling about 8 months ago, I'll take it. But I did have to deal with this. Literally the last kilometre of the 43 kilometres, I think it is, I got a flat tyre. And the last kilometre is 80% uphill. So despite expecting to be dead for the rest of the day, I actually did manage to get quite a bit done. I started off making some tiles, some level tiles to design levels with, because the ones that I'd used in the previous clip that you saw were just some assets that I had lying around. And then I got to making some level. And then with a rough and ready level in place, I did a quick demonstration and then I collapsed into bed for the next, I think, 10 hours. It was glorious. So day 4 ended up being a complete wash. I intended to work for the first half of the day and game jam for the second half of the day, and it just ended up being all work. Day 5 was quite a productive day in terms of the game jam. It doesn't look like a massive amounts happened in the game, but there was so much that went on under the hood. Basically, we implemented this, you can see in the video clip, the kind of cloudy, foggy effect that's also pixelated. It's actually harder to do pixel stuff in Unity than it is to not do pixel stuff a lot of the time, and this was one of those cases. I got the cloud thing going so quickly and then spent hours trying to make it look right with the pixel effect. And then the other thing was the mask, so that you can see through the fog in selected times. In this clip you're just seeing basically a bitmap image. I just drew a circle in Photoshop, squashed it and imported it. Later on we do something a bit more creative. And that more creative solution came on day 6, and this ended up being something of a hodgepodge of bodgy, probably poor practice ways of doing things. There may have been a better way of doing it, but basically, you know, it was a game jam. I didn't have enough time to start getting clever, and I kind of brute forced it. And basically what I'm doing is the image mask is Unity takes an image, and any of the pixels that are, I think, white, or it could be black, I forget which way around it is. Any pixels that are black, it cuts out, or white. It cuts out of the picture, which in this case is the swirling fog effect. So if I give it a bitmap that's got a picture of a circle, it will cut a circular hole. So what I'm doing is I'm basically creating a picture that overlays the screen, working out where all the characters are, where all the things that I want to cut out, and then drawing the pixels into this picture and using that to cut out the swirly fog. It would be a lot easier to do if we were just doing simple raycasts and drawing a few vertices or something like you would do in a 3D game. But because I wanted the proper pixel effect, I ended up doing it this way. And I'm sure there's a more effective way of doing it or a more efficient way of doing it, but again, time constraints. But we managed to get the raycasting working so that the actual view is obstructed by walls and other players and etc. Day 7 brought with it some new artwork. I changed the ghost model, as you can see in the video, and added a few new things that you could look through the eyes of, including paintings, because paintings always seem to be a thing in horror films, and there's always that whole thing about paintings watching you. I just figured it'd be a nice little touch, even though technically they're not a living thing. And the other thing we did was mess around with the level a bit and try and get a feel for how the actual puzzle element is going to work. There's not really a right lot other than the change of artwork to show you in this bit, because a lot of it was literally just faffing around, trying things and seeing what worked. So nothing happened on day 8 for a variety of reasons, so we are going to skip straight ahead to day 9, where there was just basically a lot of refining done, tweaking the movement system, adding a few more art assets, basically changing the colour of the fog, making it lighter and everything, basically just tweaking everything, making it work, and then gearing up for what would end up being a hectic final day of the jam. So what you're seeing here is final footage of the game as I submitted it to the jam, and the reason you're seeing that rather than any game dev footage is because I just didn't think about recording it, because it was just such a mad rush to the finish line. It was the game jam ended at about 4 AM my time. I think I submitted my entry at 2:30 in the morning. So yeah, I wasn't really thinking about recording, and to be honest, there wasn't really much to show you. It was all just creating more artwork, tweaking values, adding levels, writing dialogue, and yeah, it was just getting the game ready for a final quote release for the game jam. So I'm going to leave you with a little bit of footage of my game, and then we'll take a quick look at some of the other entries in the game jam. So I'm not going to do a complete review breakdown of all the games that I played in the game jam, because it was Seth's game jam and he has his own video doing that, and I will point you to that video in the description. But needless to say, there was some very interesting concepts with the through the eye thing. Seth's own through the eye thing involved literally poking someone in the eye. You had to control the eyes to make sure that they were lined up with the needles as they approached your eyeball. It was gruesome, horrible looking stuff, but fun. And there was a game where you took on the perspective of a bullet, so you were shooting zombies. That was the nice Halloween theme, and you took control of the bullet as it flew through the air, and you had to guide it through the zombies. That was a nice one. And yeah, so like as you can see in the background, I've inserted footage from my playthroughs. I've played all the entries obviously because I had to rate them, and I thought there was some quite impressive stuff in there. Hopefully mine doesn't fare too poorly against them. And yeah, it was a fun jam. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And who knows, maybe there's a Biggs Jam 3 on the horizon. So that brings us to the end of the video, and as always I would like to thank all my amazing Patreons, and the extra special thanks go to the Sugar Daddy / Mama tier Patreons, who are Dave Maldine, Reg Reed, Gabriel White, Aaron Clark, Mr. Drunken Dragon and Andrew Hansen. But thank you to everyone who contributes to the Patreon. Thank you to everyone who likes, subscribes, comments or joins in the Discord. Basically anyone who is involved in this channel. It's amazing that this channel has crossed 10,000 subscribers. It feels a bit ridiculous, but thank you to you all, and hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you enjoy the next one, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.